Hey, Jane.
Hi, thank you guys so much for taking your time to talk with me. First, Tobias, this is a dark, intense role for you. Was there something
Ooh, what
about
a voice.
what?
Listen, I was like, what a voice. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. My
Thanks.
goodness. This is a dark and intense role for you. Was there something about Barnes that really made you want to embody him?
uh, I think the script, yeah, the script is a little dark and intense that way. Uh, Barnes is something that is someone that we all kind of know. Think about if you were, not able to make a means for yourself, or you're not able to provide for your family, if you're, through a system, fall and you're able to fall into the cracks. I think there's a real authenticity, a real human nature that people can relate to as far as, life and society in this country. And then you think about love, we all want love. Imagine losing somebody that you love. Imagine not being able to care for somebody that meant something to you, and imagine that person being a child. So these things would create a lot of trauma and heartache in somebody's. And Barnes was somebody that kind of, most of the characters in this film, we internalized. There was a lot of internal turmoil going on. And that's kind of where he lived, in that kind of space. And I think it's something that I could relate to. I'm more of an out express, put my energy and feelings out there without any hesitation. But it's something in me somewhere that has a dark thought process.
Nope.
ah,
Coming at you in the dark.
if I could just, I asked for more cherries.
Aaron, this is another gritty role for you as well. Do you often look for characters that have a darker side to them?
You say me?
Yes.
Oh no, I just get offered those. Really, I'm just terribly typecast and stereotyped.
Your mom Taryn is so sweet. Like you're like the sweetest person. Come on.
Really
Well,
is. Really is.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I'm nice. I just people think I like cherry pick these roles. Like I have like just like a plethora. And I'm like, no, I want to
Right,
play that racist and that homophobe and that
right.
terrible white woman. And it's like no, I say no to so much. Like again, I just played that.
Yeah.
But I gotta make a living too, So it comes down to that. And I always try to find a different layer in my characters that I haven't tapped into. But I really liked her. I felt like she was different, She obviously, to become an FBI agent, you have to have quite the education and go through quite the trainings. And
Right.
then but all the while, she had her human side. So you could relate to her, and she wasn't perfect, and she seemed like a really caring person. So I like the role.
And of course, Zach took the role with the chance to get a haircut.
Always gotta keep it clean.
Keep it snatched.
There's so many intense and edge of your seat moments. Zach, what were some of yours that were particularly favorites or maybe the most challenging for you to film?
Um,
Dakota was unique fella. He has a dichotomy to him.
yeah. I mean, I think so many things stand out. Um, like all the stuff like early on with Tobias's character, like trying to you know talk about it. I mean, that's one of the things I really liked about it is like in good writing and good scenes, what you're talking about won't be like literally discussed a lot. And there's all these scenes where we're like talking about how we're gonna. I mean, technically, we're like talking about how we want to kill these people, but we're actually not saying that. Like, it's all very like alluded to at first. Like Tobias's character is like, "What do you want me to do?" So there was a lot of that was very interesting to me, and I mean, and just playing a politician I'd never done, so that was super interesting. And I love acting, and as we were saying in the last interview, this was shot during the pandemic, so Like, I mean, it didn't take much to entice me out of lockdown with 4 children. Um, you know, yeah, a little hotel in New Jersey. Let's go for a couple of weeks. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we know why you do all those conventions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tobias, I'm interested to find out from your opinion. Do you feel like Barnes was manipulated into this role as a killer, or is this something that his demons led him to?
You know, once again, like I say, this is somebody, you think about what you do when your back is against the wall, right? When you're thinking about like providing a means, you know, what happens to people when they're faced with obstacles? Like, this is when a true person's authenticity or their backbone, their will comes to the surface. I think is just a real true, what they did was, you know, the subject matter, this is entertainment, but we all can relate to that. Like, things are so crazy right now in this world, and imagine just not being able to just do the simple things in life, you know, just to provide for yourself. So I think these things really made up this person, and also made up the story that we were talking about. You know, people would had these obstacles and these hurdles that they were trying to get through. You know, Dakota wanted to ascend in this. Going down that rabbit hole, there might be something. Everything was revealed. There was always something new, and we had the option and the choice to keep going further. But yeah, I feel like there was some you know, things that were kept in the dark. And when you go back to your favorite scenes, I love the truth scene with Dakota and Barnes, where they talked about their sisters. That was like one of the main pivotal moments of the why are we doing this, why are we so attached to this, why are we're so driven to move this needle forward. So, you know, nothing is black and white, nothing is, you know, 100% on one end and 100% on this, and it's so much gray area, because that's what makes us human. That's what makes us, you know, people. So, you know, what you do in the dark sometimes comes to the light, even though we love that guy.
Well, then on the flip side, Zach, do you feel like Dakota manipulated Barnes, or do you think this was just a means to an end for him to rise as a politician?
Well, no, I think in the end, he, you know, I mean, the reasons for his involvement and for any manipulation, I think, were, you know, his goal is clear, you know, try to handle this issue with these folks who are doing this terrible stuff. As far as manipulation, yeah, I mean, there was certainly a little bit of manipulation. I mean, he's trying to get him in, but I think it was like in like manipulation in the, like, I mean, when it comes out that they have this shared history, and that you find out that he knows what happened to Barnes' sister, and he saw a picture of it, and that the same thing happened to his sister. You know, I mean, I think that when I read that, I was like, oh, okay, all right, that kind of, now it makes sense why we're here, why we got to this moment, is because of that trauma that's shared between the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I want to add to that, even I think we had those kind of conversations, Zach, Kyle, and I, early on as we're shooting, because we were developing, discovering at the same time of the voice of the film. Like, it was really important for me not to make sure that Barnes felt like you guys were really, you know, pulling the wool over his eyes. Like, there was a common goal and a camaraderie about what we were doing, and it was really important for me to make sure that came across through the film. And even if it was gray and not too sure, and maybe there were moments that the needle leaned more to the left, and there were moments that the needle leaned more to the right, it was always the idea that they're on the same team.
Yeah, the goal, that was the same. That was, I mean, I think we talked about it a lot, actually. Like, you can picture like me, Tobias, and Kyle, like sitting in like a hotel room in New Jersey in the middle of the pandemic, like sitting there going like, all right, so we formed this like team of, and our goal to win this game is to, we got to take out these people, is essentially what it is. You know, we talked so much about like, you know, are they good or are they bad?
Right.
Is it just gray? Are these heroes or villains? And I think to themselves they're heroes. I think that line, the we're not criminals, we're sanitation workers taking out the trash, was kind of what they
very poignant for the film. I think that's really what it is that embodies the the nuance to the film, and the message behind it is really they think that they're doing a service.
So they don't see themselves as doing, I mean, they know what they're doing is illegal, right? But they don't see themselves as doing something bad. They see themselves as doing something good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Taryn, I just love Danny's character. She's such a badass. What kind of backstory did Kyle, Lance, and even Ant discuss with you about your portrayal for her?
Yeah, just that she probably is somewhat of like a vigilante or bounty hunter at heart too. Probably someone that fights for people. Some of these subjects are like so hush hush, and a lot of these people get away with a lot. So I see the movie that these guys are heroes, because I personally don't think that you should ever harm a child, and take their whole life from them and corrupt them, or it's just downright evil to me. So I feel that if she was a part of their, well, at the end you start to wonder if she's gonna become like part of their crew.
He's on the way.
I feel like she would fit right in there. I think she was probably always a bit of a rebel, probably always marched to the beat of her own drum anyway. You see her on her own, just like pulling up in the car. Like I'm sure, if they knew that what she was doing that day and how she was going about it, seemed pretty unorthodox. So I always knew there was a little something different about her.
Tobias, as we talked about this intensity to Barnes and the drinking that we see him doing and the journey he goes on, how did you shake off a long day of being in that mindset?
Hey, I was telling in the last interview, when you think about the firearms and just the intensity of the role, 2-3 weeks after, I went into a completely different character right after that, but I was walking around the neighborhood kind of walking around looking for, waiting for someone to say something, because Barnes is here. But yeah. It happens, man. Part of the work is getting into the character, putting these characters on, but then also part of the work is to release the character, to let go of this and get back into a normalcy. So we go all in. We have to go all in. And if it's dark and those things, that's the places that we have to go to. But we're entertaining. We're just pretending. It's not real life. So there's always that gauge, that meter back there to remind me that we're just playing.
Taryn, what do you hope viewers take away from watching Sanctioning Evil? I really think this is some of all of you's best work in this movie.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's so sweet. I think that just eliminating the subject matter and bringing it. Another guy said something kind of interesting, that he hopes that like elicits, like, what do you call it, like water
cooler talk.
Yeah, water cooler talk.
Yeah.
Break room talk. And it seems that this movie provokes a lot of like thinking and what would you do under these circumstances? I've never. Both these characters had children stolen. It's like, I don't know what I would do under that. There's good days and bad days, I'm sure, with that reality. So on a bad day, you never know what you're capable of, right? But I just hope that people take away that this is really happening, and it's like right under our nose everywhere. And maybe they'll start to just look for signs of
and
children
on
that
the
are just
flip side,
being abused or off. What?
Yeah, I was saying, and on the flip side, maybe we're actually talking about somebody and they feel like, oh shit, they on them.
Ooh.
Oh
When-
shit! I better
all right,
stop
this
now.
finally
They on
clicked
to
in
me.
my
They're
head. I
making
see
movies
something.
about this. I got to stop what I'm doing. So yeah,
I think that happens a lot. You know, when these types of movies come out, they're like, oh my god, you know, like it's gaining on them.
Yeah, start doing some self-evaluation. Maybe people turn a new leaf and correct themselves.